Hello, I'm Victoria. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a bookshelf tour. I have not done a bookshelf tour since my BookTube newbie tag, and even then it was just kind of like a quick scan of my books and I didn't talk at all because I didn't know what I was doing. But so I'm really excited to get to go through all of these with you, and a little bit ashamed that you'll get to see all of the books I own but have not read. But let's go ahead and get started. And before I get all up close and personal with the shelves, I'm actually just gonna pull down the ones from up here. I have like some romance-ish stuff there. I took a lot of my romance books off the shelf. I don't have a lot in general, but I have like a couple handfuls that I just took off because I don't know, like too shy to talk about this stuff, I guess. But if I've talked about them on the channel, or if they're like not insanely spicy, then I have them up here. So first I have Magnolia Parks. I recently read this, you know, I've talked about it quite a bit, loved it, and I went out and bought this copy because even if, as I continue the series, if I end up not liking the other books, I am pretty sure that like I'd be okay just owning this as like by itself, you know, like envisioning it as a standalone. And then I also got Jessa Hastings' latest book, The Conditions of Will. My Libby did not have an audiobook for it, so when I saw it at the bookstore and saw it didn't have an audiobook, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and pay the new price for it. The cover on this one is interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think it's really pretty. It's just kind of strange, but I haven't read the book yet, so it might be really fitting. I'll just stack them all and then put them back after, I guess. And then we have Pride and Prejudice. I have my first copy that I bought of it, the Cranford edition that Books A Million has. And then recently I was at, I think, Barnes & Noble, and I stumbled upon this really pretty version, and it was just so beautiful I couldn't resist. Like, that's the inside, and then it has like drawings on the inside too. Let me see if I can find a good example. Like that. It's just so pretty. So yeah, I couldn't resist getting that. Then we have Dungeons and Drama, and the next one in the series is Dating and Dragons, and that's just such a cute series. I've only read the first one so far, but like I am really excited to read the next one. Then we have Scarred by Emily McIntyre. I have read a lot of the books in this series, and some of them I liked, like alright, and then some of them weren't for me. This is the only one that I loved enough that I wanted to own a copy. And then I have the first two books in the Duskwalker Bride series. So that is A Soul to Keep. Oop, I got the glare, sorry. Soul to Keep, and then A Soul to Heal. It's a monster romance series, but I feel like the romance in it is actually really good. So then a series that I would say the romance is not really that good, but it's a lot of fun, and that is the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I own the first three. I kind of stopped after that, but I might pick up the series again and continue on with it. I don't know. Let me just get all these back up first. Okay, I just want to warn you guys ahead of time. I do not have these very well organized. There's like some method to the madness in certain spots, but in general, it's just kind of like they're here. This first shelf, because I do have multiple shelves, this first shelf has like the books that I've read and decided I loved enough that I want to own, and then it also has books that I have like multiple by the author. I have them over here so I can like have them all together per author. And then I have a shelf of manga, and then I have a shelf of like, I only own one book by this author and I haven't read it yet, and it's just a whole bunch of random stuff. So over here we have Godkiller and Sunbringer. I have not read this yet. I've heard good things about it. I'm not sure if it'll really be for me, but we'll see. And then we have Kingdom of Exiles and The Shattered Crown. I picked these up at a used bookstore. No idea anything about them. Then I have two first books in series by Julie Kagawa. I have The Iron King and The Immortal Rules. I don't know anything about The Immortal Rules, but The Iron King, I'm really wanting to check it out because I know it's like fae and stuff. Then we have The Grace of Kings and The Veiled Throne. I have only read the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty, and then the third one I picked up at a used bookstore. I still need to get that second one, but I'm waiting until I like read the series fully before I'm gonna like pay full price for, especially for like a hardcover book, you know. But then we have the 3 books of the Brooke and Rose trilogy. If you saw in my recent video, my host vlog, where I read Danny's recommendations, I read The Mask of Mirrors, and then recently I read The Liar's Knot, and I'm on the 3rd book, but I love it so much I can tell, like, favorite series, for sure. Needed to own these. Then I have 4 books in whatever this series is called, The 9 Kingdoms. I don't think they're like the first 4 books, but I pick them up as I find them at used bookstores. I haven't read any of it except for a little bit of the first one a long time ago, and I liked the writing, so I want to give it a shot, and it's not like I'm going to find them like this at like a new bookstore. It seems like an older series, and I haven't seen it before except for at used bookstores. And then also, if I see it in a new bookstore, I'm like 99% sure it would be mass market paperback, and I don't deal with that. Then we have 16 Ways to Defend a Walled City and How to Rule an Empire and Get Away with It. Haven't read these yet, but the little bit I looked into on the first one, it seems like an enjoyable sense of humor in it if you're in the right mood for it, you know? And then I have the Song of Albion trilogy. I have books 1 and 3 by Stephen R. Lawhead. I've read a different book by him that was only all right, but this one my mom sent to me in the mail. She likes to send me books in her like little care packages and stuff that she sends me, and then I found this one at a used bookstore, so I was like, yeah, might as well, even though I haven't gotten around to the first one yet. And then these 4 are all by Django Wexler. Books 1 and 2 of The Burning Blade and Silver Eye. And then these 2 books, I don't know what the series is called, but the first is Ship of Smoke and Steel. I think the cover on this series, the art style is really cool. And then I have a couple books by Orson Scott Card. I haven't read anything by him, but I know he's like a really well-loved author. I have Enchantment and Pathfinder. And then I have a few books from Terry Pratchett's Discworld series. I have Wintersmith, The Color of Magic, and Guards. And then I have 2 books by Patricia A. McKillop. I have not read this author yet either. I think the artwork is very pretty. I'm getting like Forest Fae vibes from it. The other one that I have is Alphabet of Thorn, if you can't see that from there. Okay, up here we have my 4 books by Brom. I've only read Slewfoot, loved it, and I've been picking up other ones over time. I want to do like seasonal things for ones that it seems fitting. So I was thinking like The Child Thief I could read in like October, and then Krampus in December. I don't know for sure if that'll happen or not. But then we have books 5 and 6 of the Fallen Kingdoms series. I'm really hoping I end up loving that series. I'm halfway through it. And then if I do, I will definitely pick up the other 4 books, like the first 4 books in hard copy as well. Then we have the first 2 books in the Moonfall series. I have only read the first one, and there's actually a few books here that I read the first book in these series like when I first got back into reading back in 2022, and now don't really remember much about them, but I own like books 2, like the second book for each of them. So I think I'm gonna have to like reread all of them to figure out like what's going on and if I'm still even interested in continuing. But so I need to do that with this one, and also the Codex Alera series down here by Jim Butcher and the Aeronauts Windlass series by Jim Butcher. All of those are like really early reads that I did that I need to restart before continuing the series. But then we have the Daevabad trilogy, love the series so much, and the Adventures of Amin al-Sarafi. I liked this book, but not as much as these ones. And then down here, I've already gone over those. Brandon Sanderson's Warbreaker was the book that started it all for me. I got back into reading like hardcore in 2022 at the beginning of the year, and this was the first book that I read. I loved it so much, and it just really brought like reading back into my life, you know? Then we have Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. No idea what that's about, hadn't even heard of it, and then I saw it at a store, I was like, oh, and so I had to get it. And then we have the first 2 books of the Stormlight Archive. I've only read the first one. I'm feeling kind of iffy about this series, but I'm definitely going to hold on to these until I make like a firm decision, because I do like these editions. So if I do end up continuing and loving the series, like if I end up, you know, really liking it and wanting to own the whole series, this is the editions that I want to have. And then I have my Joe Abercrombie books. I have Before They Are Hanged, The Blade Itself, and then I think this is the whole trilogy. I think it's just a trilogy over here. So we have Half a King, Half the World, and Half a War. The only book I've read by Joe Abercrombie is The Blade itself, and I liked it, but my copy got messed up. I want to continue this series and finish it before deciding, okay, yes, I want to own this whole series, and if I do, then I'm going to get myself a new copy and donate this. But if I end up not loving the rest of the series, I don't want to spend money on a second one when I already have a copy, you know? Then over here, things are a little bit themed. I have up here kind of just single books that I've read and want to keep, at least for now. So we have Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I really like that one. The House Witch by Delamock, The Rose Bargain, Pierre Nessie, The Will in the Wilds, Rebecca, The Bear and the Nightingale, which I don't know if y'all would have seen, but in a different video I talked about how I didn't really enjoy book 2 for that series, so I just DNF'd it and am keeping The Bear and the Nightingale as a standalone. And then The Tainted Cup, the 5th season, Hunt the Stars, and then on this side, actually I guess Hunt the Stars would go with that. On this side is kind of like my limited sci-fi collection. So I have Gideon the Ninth and Nona the Ninth, the original, the first Red Rising trilogy. I stopped there. I didn't continue with the series. Just not any issues I had with the series, just I was really happy with how this ended and I did not want to risk messing up my feelings about it, so I'm just done. And then Clara and the Sun and The Wild Robot. And then this shelf is my urban fantasy shelf. So I have The Other series by Anne Bishop, and then her World of the Others books that are just standalone stories that take place within it. And then I also have book 3 of her Black Jewels series. I've read the first one a long time ago, but I need to restart that. And then they actually came out with new printings of this series. So after I read it, if I end up loving it, I may just go and get those instead. And then I have The House at Watch Hill by Karen Marie Moning and the first 3 of her Fever series. I have 2 copies of Dark Fever because I cannot decide if I want to have the old copies or the new covers. So here, this is what the old covers look like, and then this is what the new ones look like. I personally really like the old ones. I think that they fit the series better. This feels a little too light for me, mood-wise. It doesn't, I don't know. This has the darker feeling of it, I feel that fits it better. But the problem with that is this isn't in print anymore, and so I feel the papers and stuff, if I buy them, I risk getting damaged copies or the papers being really old and maybe not holding up as well and stuff. That might be a weird concern, I don't know. And then we have 3 Kinds of Lucky by Kim Harrison. And then I just recently got these 2 books at a used bookstore. I don't know anything about this series, but I might not even have the first book. I have Succubus Revealed and Succubus Dreams. Oops, Succubus Dreams. I don't know anything about it, but when I was reading the description of it, from what I can remember, I think it didn't seem like it would have the issues that I have with a lot of urban fantasy series, of it being monster of the week kind of thing going on. So I was hoping that maybe this would be a new one I could get into. And then I have the first 2 The first 2 books in the, what is it called? Blood Moon Saga? The Bite and the Hunt by Z.W. Taylor. And then these 2 shelves are my middle grade, younger YA books, I guess. Let me move Hatsune Miku. First we have my Cindy Williams Chima books. I have this Children of Ragnarok, and I haven't read this yet, but her 7 Realms series I love so much. And then I have these 4 books in the Life as We Knew It series. Is that what it's called? Yeah, okay. And then I have my Tamora Pierce books. I haven't read these 3. The Circle Opens. I have 2 books from the series. And then this is book 3 of Becca Cooper. You can tell that I pick up just as I find things at used bookstores a lot, because this is book 3 and I think this is 3 and 4 or something. And then I have all 4 books of Alana, or The Song of the Lioness. And then over here are my Gail Carson Levine books. This one, Fairest, was one of my first favorite books ever that I can remember having. And then down here I have a bunch of Assassin's Apprentice books that I've just picked up. I've only read the first book so far, but I definitely plan to continue with that series. And then I have 3 books in the Redwall series. And again, I've only read the first one. And then I have book 1 of The Unwanteds. And then this is like, I think, a sequel series of it called The Unwanted Quest. It's book 5. I got this at Goodwill, but I think when I got it, I thought it was book 5 of The Unwanteds, and it wasn't. So hopefully I end up liking both of those series. And then I have books 1 and 2 of this Oddmire series. I haven't read it yet, but it has like very fairy tale vibes on like the cover, so I thought it seemed like it would be like right up my alley. And then I found these at a used bookstore. I'd never heard of this series, but it's called The Mapmaker Chronicles. It seems like very survival-y, like jungle and at sea and stuff. I don't know if it's any good or not. And then I have books 1 and 8 of The Keeper of the Lost Cities. This is The 13 Clocks. I really like this little story. And then I have Fortunately the Milk and books 1 and 2 of the Ascendants trilogy, The False Prince and The Runaway King. Then we have the Black Witch Chronicles by Lori Forrest and my little Care Bears. I was obsessed with Care Bears when I was in elementary school, like 5 to 7 or 8 years old. I used to get them for like birthday and Christmas. I had all of the Care Bears and the Care Bear cousins, like the stuffed animals, and then I also had all of the VHSs that came with them. Like it was like a thing, but yeah, I was in love with them. And then we have Dark Rise and Dark Air by C.S. Pacat and the Captive Prince trilogy. I'm like so out of breath. And then I have 2 of the books of the Daughter of Smoke and Bones series. I can't remember if this is book 2 or book 3. And then I own the Strange the Dreamer duology. It's like one of my favorite like books ever, like especially that first book. It's just not on my shelf because I have loaned it out. I'm a little bit scared about that. And then we have my Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I like these covers okay, but I really wish I had the UK covers. And then I have the, what's the series called? I'm drawing a blank on what the series name is, but Fireborn, Flamefall, Firesong by Rosaria Munda. Really good series. And then these are all of my Holly Black books. I need to finish this series before deciding if I'm going to get the last of the books. I read this first one during the first round of Battle of the Booktubers, and then Cruel Prince trilogy, and these, and the Book of the Night. So when we were over on the other shelf, there wasn't anything on the shelf below it, but I do have a few here, so rather than like adjusting again later on, I'm just gonna like pull them up and tell you about them. So I have the first 2 books in Dark Reflections trilogy, The Water Mirror and The Stone Light. I've only read the first book. I reread this, so this was a book that I read for the first time when I was in like 6th grade, and I reread this a couple years ago, bought book 2, so I could continue the series, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Okay, I had to pause for a second. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, these are like translated from German. But then I have 2 books in this series. I don't know what the series is called, but the first one is Agatha H. in the Airship City. Oh, a girl genius novel. So yeah. And then I have Agatha H. in The Voice of the Castle. And then I have this trilogy, Dragon Slippers, Dragonflight, Dragon Spear. It looks super cute. I had started this book, the first one, but I didn't finish it yet. But I do plan to go back, and I think it'll be good. And then I have Maybird and the Ever After, and the sequel is Maybird Among the Stars. Then we have Forging Silver into Stars and Carving Shadows into Gold. I really enjoy this series, and there's a lot of stuff that I really like about it, but I don't know if I'm going to end up keeping this series. I'm going to try to wait until the next book comes out and see, because there's a couple characters that are like wearing me down. And then I have Castles in Their Bones and Stardust in Their Veins by Laura Sebastian. I have not read the series yet. I got like halfway into this book and just got distracted by life because I was physical reading it and kind of forgot about it, so I need to pick that up again. And then we have the Fable duology and Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. These are really good. And then over here I have my Juliette Marillier books. I have Blade of Fortrio, I think is how you say that, and The Well of Shades, and then Fox Mask. I have not read any of these. Actually, I haven't read any of these books aside from Daughter of the Forest. Daughter of the Forest is amazing. Like, it's so good. I need to just read everything by her just based on how I feel about that book, and that's why I kind of found myself just picking up these other books of hers that I found. And I had bought, this was years ago, but I had bought the entire like original trilogy of this. I think there's like other books that come after too, but yeah, I've literally only read this and then the first book in her Bards, like Magic Bards or whatever it's called. I'm trying to blank on the name, but series, and then I think I tried out one other book by her that wasn't quite working for me. But yeah, this book, amazing. If you like, honestly, I feel like just try it out. Then down here we have the Queen of the Tearling series. Read the first book. I really enjoyed it. I haven't read the other two yet though, but I felt potential in that first book for this to be a favorite series, so that's why I was okay getting these, and I'm pretty sure I got them used too. And then these are my Maria V. Snyder books. I have only read Poison Study. I do that a lot, honestly, but I have The Eyes of Tambura, Poison Study, Magic Study, Fire Study, and then we have Touch of Power. Does this count as a romantasy series? I feel like it has enough of a romance element to it that it is. I don't know. But if it is, I feel like it's one that I would really love. And then I felt confident enough in her writing also that I picked up these other books as I found them. And then we have Silver Under Nightfall and the sequel, Court of Wanderers by Rin Chueco. I read the first book, picked up the second one, haven't gotten around to it yet. I feel like I might have been a little impulsive about that though, because this whole like it only being a duology and then having one paperback, one hardback, don't love that. Then we have my Turan Matharu books. I have books 1 and 2 of the Summoner series. This series is really fun. I need to continue with it. And then their Dragon Rider book. And then we have City of Nightmares and Cage of Dreams by Rebecca Schaefer. And then I have the Prince of Thorns trilogy. I need to continue with that. I've only read the first book of that as well. But we'll go ahead and do the bottom shelf like how I did with the other one. So I have a few different books by Peter V. Brett. We have The Desert Prince. I love the cover of this book. I think that's really beautiful. I wonder, no, it's just plain. I was hoping they'd have like a pretty underneath the dust jacket, whatever. And then Brian's Gold. I picked this up somewhere. I think it's just a novella that goes into one of these series. And then The Warded Man. I also have these two books that are, it says A Novel of the House of War. No, The House War. We have The Hidden City by Michelle West and Firstborn. And then I have The Throne of Five Winds by C.S. Emmett and The Poison Prince. And then we have The Wolf of Oranyaru by K.S. Veloso and The Ikisar Falcon. And then I have Garden of the Moon. I got this used. It didn't have a jacket. But I also have Blood Follows by Stephen Erickson. Then I only have 2 books by R.A. Salvatore. I have The Highwayman and The Ancient. And then I have the first 2 books, like the 2 that are out, for The Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. And that's it for this shelf, so now we will move on to my manga shelf. Okay, starting at the top, my Clamp books. I originally wanted to collect all of the books that they put out, but not all of them are like perfect for me. Like honestly, even though I loved Sailor Moon as a kid, I never got hardcore into Cardcaptor Sakura. But we have Clover and then Chobits. I really just love this series. And then we have The Girl from the Other Side. I've read the first 2, maybe 3, but I need to finish this series really bad. And then we have Dragon Ball. I picked this up used. I need to read it soon. I'm not sure if Dragon Ball is going to hold up for me the way it did as a kid. But I do remember I used to really love the humor in this series. I personally like Dragon Ball way more than Dragon Ball Z. And then I have the first book in the Vinland Saga. And I have all of the books that are out so far, and Villains Are Destined to Die. This is like isekai, and she's like put into this, the main character's like put into this like video game and stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And then I have this omnibus for the series called Red River. I haven't read this yet, but I've heard it's like a shoujo classic, and so I want to at least give it a shot. I've heard some things about it though that it might not hold up, like, I don't know. But yeah, I've heard some things about it. And then I have books 1 and 3 of Fruits Basket, and then the first 2 in Complex Age, the first 2 in Romantic Killer, and then I have a couple of the omnibuses from Tokyo Revengers. I am probably going to end up getting more of this series, but I had read a lot of it, and then I fell off, but I want to pick it up again and just continue all the way through before I buy more, just because, I don't know, long series like that, the cost can really add up. And then, let me move this. Down here, I have My Dress Up Darling. It's a very cute series. And then Witch Hat Atelier. It's beautiful. Can't wait for the anime to come out. And then over here we have Something's Wrong with Us. And what's cool about this series is I love Kitchen Princess by the same mangaka. I have had, down here you'll see, I have had my Kitchen Princess series since like 7th or so grade and managed to like hold on to it for that long. And then just a couple of years ago, or a year or so ago, something like that, I discovered this series by the same author, and I want to do a reread of this. But yeah, so I was just really happy, like nostalgia-wise, to find something else by the same author. And then down here I have my Yona the Dawn series. I have all of the volumes that are out because I love this series. The first 3 I have loaned out to someone, but then the shelf below, we have a couple more Clamp books. I have volume 2 of Wish and volumes 15 and 19 of Tsubasa. If you can't tell, picked those up used, just stumbled upon them. The thing about Clamp is it's really hard to find the books for them. Although I haven't really gone online for them, so that could be my own fault. Then we have volume 1 of Sotus. I watched this, so this was originally, I don't know, maybe there was something even before that, but I watched this as a Thai BL drama, and it was really good. So then when I saw that it had like a manga, I got it, and I think I enjoyed it, but I think I liked the drama better. So I don't know if I'm going to end up continuing with this or not, because I like the story enough that I want to have something of it, but it's not like I'm going to be able to get the drama on DVD here or anything, you know, so I don't know. And then I have the first 3 volumes of My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. I really like this series. It's a great romance manga. And then I have the first 5 volumes of My Happy Marriage. This is a really good series as well. And then Spy Family, Silent Voice, and Kitchen Princess, my beloved. And then down here I just have some photo albums and stuff. Now for the obnoxious part, because look at this. Sorry about the mess. That is my other bookshelf. That's where I keep my like single books by authors. Like if I only have one by the author and I haven't read it yet, it goes over there into like the corner of doom. And it's kind of hard to get over there because I have a dining table in my library that I use for like board games and D&D and stuff. So I think what I'm gonna do in order to like go through all these with you is I'm just gonna take them all down and just lift them up and stuff and show you, because I also want to go through them and separate out which ones have audiobooks on Libby and which ones don't, so that way I know like how I want to prioritize my at-home physical reading and stuff to like optimize, I guess, getting through as many of these as I can, as quickly as I can. So I will get all those down and be right back. Okay, so I have like 13 stacks of books around me, so this might take a bit. I have Master of Furies by Raymond E. Feist, The Fall of the Kings by Ellen Kushner and Delia Sherman, The Curious Case of the Clockwork Man by Mark Hodder, Feather and Flame by Olivia Blackburn, The Martian by Andy Weir, The Free Lunch by Spider Robinson, Fangs But No Fangs by Kathy Love. I like that title. Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. So I'm kind of speedrunning through these because a lot of them I don't really know anything to say about them, since these are all books that I haven't read yet. Amy Tan, The Valley of Amazement. I don't know why I read the author first that time. The Cold in Her Bones by Van Arsdale, is that right? Sunshine by Robin McKinley. The Glare by Margot Harrison. Jeez. A Market of Dreams and Destiny by Trip Galley. Bear Daughter by Judith Berman. The Onion Girl by Charles DeLint. Day Boy by Trent Jameson. Spinning Starlight by R.C. Lewis. The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. The Whispering Wars by Jacqueline Moriarty. From the Two Rivers. This is part 1 of The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Back when they had them split for YA audience is what I believe why it's part 1 like that. Wilderlore by Amanda Foody. Sleeping Giants by Sylvian Nouvelle. The Tower of Fools by, sorry, I don't think I'm going to manage that name. Ship of Magic by Robin Hogg. The Ogress and the Orphans by Kelly Barnhill. The Magician's Daughter by H.G. Perry. The Last Quintista by Donna Barba Iguera. Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lynn. Clarice the Brave by Lisa McMahon. Silver Queendom by Dan Cobalt. Is that a fake name? Cobalt? The Pricker Boy by Reed Scott Winnern. I think this is middle grade horror, but I'm not sure. Sisters of Sword and Song by Rebecca Ross. It's so crazy to me that this book is on my only one by this author shelf because I thought that, that duology that she wrote, I really loved the first book and then the second was a flop for me and now I can't even remember the first name. That's terrible. But yeah, it makes me sad that that author, I don't have a place of honor on my shelves for her. Victories Greater Than Death by Charlie Jane Anders. Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott. Prince of Fortune by Lisa Terreno. The Last Light of the Sun by Guy Gavriel Kay. Is it Gavriel or Gavriel? Prudence by Gail Carringer. The Mighty Nine, The Nine Eyes of Lucian by Madeline Rowe. Piercing the Darkness, Undercover with Vampires in America Today by Catherine Ramsland. That is a title. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. The Family Experiment by John Mars. The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. Kai Kei by Vaishnavi Patel. The Poison Season by Mara Rutherford. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. The Warlord by Jenna Showalter. Wolf Girl by Leah Stone. Wooing the Witch Queen by Stephanie Burgess. Ray Bear by Jordan Ifueko. The Thief Lord by Cornelia Funk. Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I really want to get to this one soon. The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Bone Season by Samantha Shannon, and this one. Babel by R.F. Kuang. Unclean Spirits by M.L.N. Hanover. Funny story about this one is I just recently picked this up at a used bookstore. I actually had it in a pile where I was going to do a book haul, but then I decided to do a bookshelf tour and I was like, what's the point of doing the book haul then? You're going to see all the books I have. So I picked this up and I had actually had it on my saved on Amazon list as like a Kindle book saved on there that I had found. I just hadn't gotten around to willing myself to spend the money on it. And yeah, so when I saw this, I was like, okay, that kind of coincidence, I have to get it. The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Mother of Eden by Chris Beckett. The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabin. Chabin? Leviathan by Scott Westerfeld. Empire of Exiles by Aaron M. Evans. Sky Jumpers by Peggy Edelman. The Green Ember by S.D. Smith. Destinies, The Ark of Power by David Barco. The Stranger's Woes by Max Frey. Beyond the Black Door by A.M. Strickland. Five Broken Blades by Mai Corland. A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. This one's so pretty. This is also a recent buy. Ugh, that's so pretty. I wonder, does the inside have... Ooh. So the inside right here, that part, I mean, it's pretty, but it's a little plain. But I love the dragon that it has on the cover right here. Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. So, interesting story about this one. I picked this up, a copy of this for my friend as like, you just had a baby, here's something just for you kind of gift. And I got me a copy as well, just in case we ended up deciding to buddy read, but we might not, I don't know. But then like today, I was on YouTube and saw a video of like one of my YouTubers that I really like their taste and stuff, was not feeling that book, even though it seems to have like really amazing reviews. I didn't watch the video since I do plan to read that, and they go into like a lot of spoilers commonly, but so now I'm slightly nervous. This is why BookTube can backfire slightly. But then Prophecy by M.L. Fergus. The Underwild by Shanna Targas. His Face is the Sun by Michelle Habas Corpora. The Forgotten Kingdom by Signe Pike. Signe. Dark Tide by Jennifer Donnelly. Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. The Trials of Kali by M.R. Carey. Is it Kali or Coley? If anyone knows. Crownbreaker by Sebastian de Castell. Vicious Spirits by Kat Cho. The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. I just saw at Barnes & Noble today or yesterday. I'm getting my time mixed up. I'm not sure when I went. But I saw that The Lies of Locke Lamora is now out in this like nice paperback edition that I like. So I really need to like read that series and make a decision about what editions I guess I want to own them in, if I end up wanting to own them, you know? But yeah, this one was a used bookstore buy because since I've only read like part of the first book, I wouldn't have been willing to like pay, especially hardcover price for it. But yeah, Foxcraft The Taken by Imbali Iserlis. A Wild Winter Swan by Gregory Maguire. I don't know if I'm really interested in reading this book, but it's short, and Gregory Maguire is such like a classic author, you know, like he wrote Wicked and stuff. And I don't know, I feel like I need to make myself at least try it out before getting rid of it, you know? The Slaughtered Lamb by Sam Quinn. The Clockwork 3 by Matthew J. Kirby. Black Sun by Rebecca Rowanhorse. Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I think this book's really pretty too. The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. The Dance Tree by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. The Deepest Blue by Sarah Beth Durst. A Red Sun Also Rises by Mark Hodder. Wait, that last name sounds familiar. Do I have more than one by that author? The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wong. Oh, I have two by this author. I have Merrick by Anne Rice and Servant of the Bones by Anne Rice. Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. One Night in Hartswood by Emma Denny. Fires of Winter by Roberta Gellis. Five Unicorn Flush by T.J. Barry. Bones of the Dragon by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Mageborn by Stephen Aryan. Dragonfall by L.R. Lam. Bane Wrecker by Jacqueline Carey. Beast Player by Nahoko Uhashi. The Pariah by Anthony Ryan. This is one that I'm really nervous about because I tried a different Anthony Ryan book and I was kind of having a hard time with it. Like, it was alright, like I could tell it was like good quality, it just wasn't for me, and so I'm worried that this one will also not be for me. The Mirror Prince by Violet Malin. An Unintended Voyage by Marshall Ryan Maresca. The Naming by Alison Krogan. The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams, Threadneedle by Carrie Thomas, Highland Raven by Melanie Karsak. I have one old school choose your own adventure book. It's The Cave of Time. Novice Dragoneer by E.E. Knight. We're getting close to being done. A Door in the Dark by Scott Reintgen. The Unnaturalists by Tiffany Trent. The Grim Legacy by Polly Schulman. Notorious Sorcerer by Davinia Evans. Nura and the Immortal Palace by M.T. Khan. Scythe by Neil Shusterman. First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. Sweet Black Waves by Christina Perez. I have a note on here for bad audiobook, but Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. Oh, I guess I shouldn't get rid of that note so I can separate that later. Spirit Gate by Kate Elliott. Beware the Night by Jessica Fleck. Kagan the Damned, by Jonathan Mayberry. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. Discount Armageddon by Shannon McGuire. Ballad of Sword and Wine by Heaven's Official Blessing. I'm not going to try with these names. Heaven's Official Blessing, Volume 1. The Husky and His White Cat Shizoon. The First Girl Child by Amy Harmon. A Queen in Hiding by Sarah Kozloff. The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. The Counselor by E.J. Beaton. Oh, another Sarah Beth Durst. Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst. I need to set that to the side too and find the other book by her somewhere around here. I also have Elliot Brooks's book, Peace and Turmoil. And that is every book I own, if you don't count nonfiction. Oh, and the romance books that I hid from you guys. But yeah, so if y'all have read any of these and you're like, you need to prioritize this, read this right away, it is so amazing, let me know. And then also, if you've read any of these and you're like, I really think you're gonna hate this, it'll be a waste of time, you'll be so upset, let me know about that too, and maybe I'll trust your judgment and just like not bother with it. Now I have to sort through all of these and put them back on the shelves. But thank you guys so much for watching. I had so much fun. I hope you had a great day. Bye!